Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the weekly Nerd Podcast. Today, we have Tony... I almost said Tony Drucker. Tony Kaz! We have...
Hey, brother. Oh, God.
We have David Drucker.
What's up?
And we have myself, Sam Brush. For the time being, Ian Robinson, who has been with us, won't be with us. He and Maddie are, as we mentioned last week, I think, in a play, and they have rehearsals in the evenings when we do this, so they won't be with us for the time being. But I hope you all have had a good week since our last one. We went and saw Ant-Man and The Wasp on Thursday night, and I think the thing that we really need to start out with is just your general overview of the movie and a rate. Don't get into specifics yet. We'll get into that, but just your general overview. How did you feel about the movie and a rating out of 10? Go ahead, David. Let's start with you.
Well, I'll start off. I'll say I gave it a 6 out of 10. It's not a movie that's going to blow you away, but I don't know. I personally didn't have any expectations for the movie, and if you came in with expectations, you're going to be really disappointed. Unless you expected a bad movie, then you might be a little surprised that it wasn't horrible. It's not a horrible movie. Marvel has definitely made worse sequels, like the Iron Man sequels or some of the Thor movies. But it's also not great. It's Ant-Man. You get it. So I gave it a 6 out of 10, middle of the road.
Tony?
I'm probably with David on this one. I'm right at a 6 out of 10. I think it was just an average movie that showcased a Marvel superhero. Not necessarily that they didn't make the mark, but there are things that are missing out of the movie that we'll go into later. I don't really want to waste your time on it, but superhero, check. Supervillain, check. Storyline, check. Ending of the movie, check. Endline credits, check.
Yeah. I actually... So here's the thing. I didn't hate the first Ant-Man movie, but I did not like it.
I didn't like it either.
This movie was, in my opinion, far superior. Took just about everything that was good about the first movie, made it better.
Yes.
One or two things were worse, and we'll get into that. One major thing, in my opinion, was worse. But I actually give it like a 7 out of 10. Like, I went and saw it again today with Ian, just in case he had the chance to come down to podcast tonight with us. He and I went and saw it this afternoon. And I watched the whole thing again, and I was happy I did, because I looked at it and I went, okay, every time they wanted me to laugh, I did. Which I can't say for a lot of the Marvel movies that try to get you to laugh a lot. Most of the jokes miss. And this one I went, know what?
Except for Thor Ragnarok.
Hey, even that one, most of the jokes missed, in my opinion, but we talked about that way back when. I mean, it's better now than it was when I first saw it. Yeah. I've seen it a few times since then. But there wasn't a point in this movie where I was supposed to laugh that I didn't.
Exactly.
And
I don't think they were trying too hard like Guardians 2.
Exactly.
Guardians 2, they were laughing at their own jokes.
Right.
Yeah, they were.
And so they made it funny enough. The tense moments were good because you had one scene in it where Hope is talking to Scott about how she doesn't know if her mom's going to recognize her, and Scott makes a joke that was funny. And then right after that, he gives some great advice about it. So, like it was good. 7 out of 10. Let's go with what really kept it off. I'm going to start with this one, and I think we all agree with this. The villain. Ghost left everything to be desired in this movie. For some reason, Marvel is on this kick that we have to make our villains relatable. We have to give them a tragic backstory that make you kind of feel bad for the villain and not just want the heroes to win. You've seen it with Killmonger, with Bushmaster, who's in the Luke Cage season 2, Thanos, even Loki, and now with Ghost here in this one. You look at it, and there's no even Ego, the Living Planet. They didn't give him a tragic backstory, but there wasn't a point where I was like, "Yeah, beat that guy." There was no, like, I have no. Yeah. I'm like, yes, I just want this villain to lose, and again, they didn't do it, and it kept this movie from being better.
And I think they need some variety in it. My wife and I, we just watched the Netflix The Punisher. She's getting into the Marvel Netflix stuff, and one thing we appreciated about it was I'm going back and watching it, and you get a villain that you hate from the very beginning. This guy's got bad guy written all over him. He can do bad things and get away with it. And the entire time, you cannot wait for Punisher to get a hold of this guy and kill him. You can't wait for that moment. And when you get that moment, you enjoy it because, like, wow, this guy was such a bad guy, got away with everything. Yeah. Now he's not getting away with it. Marvel's gone so much with their movies, so many sympathetic villains, and we don't have that anymore in their movies where there's a villain who is just evil for the sake of being evil, and you can't wait for that finale when the hero's finally there to stop him. Now it's more of, oh, okay, something bad happened to them in their childhood or something, like with Killmonger. Even Ghost, same thing. Trying to make you care about the villain so they have a legitimate motivation, and you kind of want them to win, but...
And every once in a while it works. Like, even with Thanos, who I personally think, I think we could all agree with this, is the best villain Marvel has had. It's not a tragic backstory, but you can look at it and you go, okay, I see his premise. I even agree with his premise, just not his... I agree with his ends. I don't agree with his means, though, so the heroes have to win. With Ghost... There's not even that. With Ghost, it's just, oh, this poor girl had her father killed because Hank Pym did some stupid stuff because he's arrogant, and so now she's trying to get back at him, and you need to feel bad, and then, she comes out, the mother comes out and is able to save her from her abilities, and it's so great. No, it's not.
No.
I think it actually...
Well, see, me and David talked about this earlier. We said, where in the movie did they go wrong with the Ghost character?
The beginning.
We said it was the very beginning where they showed her getting her powers.
Yeah.
It was so short. It was so cryptic. It didn't really show a lot to show why she had her powers. Why did she leave S.H.I.E.L.D.? And what makes her a villain?
Well, I mean, they say why she leaves S.H.I.E.L.D. because S.H.I.E.L.D. collapsed. So basically, if you haven't seen the movie yet, and by the way, we'll say this right now, we haven't really spoiled much, but from this point out, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. So basically, her father was working with Hank Pym to create a quantum tunnel to go to the quantum realm years before when she was a little girl. Apparently he disagreed with Hank. Hank gets him fired and discredited, so now he's trying to create this on his own to remake himself. It goes wrong. She runs in to be with her father because she knew he was, if the movie goes, I knew he was scared and I didn't want him to be alone.
Yeah.
So she runs in to be with her father. Her father and mother are killed when there's all this quantum energy, I guess, washes over her, and now all of her molecules, her cells, her atoms are in flux, so she can go through things
Quantum
and stuff
flux.
like that.
Yeah.
Right. And so S.H.I.E.L.D. takes her and makes her basically S.H.I.E.L.D.'s version of the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
This assassin who can do everything for them.
With spaceships.
Right.
Spaceships.
And then,
I thought that scene would have been better served to be at the very beginning of the movie to introduce Ghost. Not her narrating it, but if you see that, okay, because you're going to introduce the quantum realm some more, you introduce Bill Foster making this machine.
Yeah.
That's right, Bill Foster. I'm sorry.
And if you introduce this little girl who's exposed to this, and then maybe you get some flashes of her with S.H.I.E.L.D. as the Ghost doing like assassin stuff, and then you get your Marvel screen, and then
really, to be frank, a Ghost movie would be kind of cool. Like the idea of her in a clandestine spy sort of way is an interesting premise for an actual movie.
Well, they really didn't hit on the villain character at all.
No, they didn't.
They tried to make you feel sad. They didn't give you enough of a backstory. They didn't sequence it correctly. They didn't sequence it correctly for them to get the point across that you not only want to feel sorry for her, but you do want her to win. And that's what they've done since Loki.
Number one, basically.
Loki was number one way back in the beginning.
Right. Well, like Iron Man, in the Iron Man movie wasn't like that. But
think of any other supervillain that you felt bad for before that time. And you can't. Mandarin, Red Skull, Killmonger, Whiplash, like none of them. Right. None of them were even good. None of them were even good, to be honest. But Red Skull was all right. But
right, I liked Red Skull. Yeah. I think he was underutilized in that movie.
Very much so.
But I liked him as a villain. Also, Hugo Weaving did an incredible job. He won't be back, but incredible job.
Really, ever since Age of Ultron, I think they've gone with all these sympathetic
Well,
villains.
Age of Ultron is really the only villain that you kind of just go, I want him to lose.
Yeah.
There's nothing good about him, and he's a freaking robot, so you don't feel bad about wanting... There's no human character, really, that you look at, and you go, even with Ironmonger in the first one, there's no real villain you look at, and they don't give him a tragic backstory, but they don't have a villain that you look at and you go, I just want them to outright lose, get the snot beat out of them, outside of, like, Punisher...
With some of the Netflix series...
But even Daredevil Season 1, you had Kingpin, who has a kind of tragic-ish backstory, kind of a Thanos-esque, wants to save Hell's Kitchen, so you agree with his premise, but not his means. Season 2 of Daredevil, you have the Hand. which there's no real good in them, but you're still not like, yeah, just beat them.
Yeah.
You know,
They didn't make them bad enough that
Exactly.
you wanted them to just die.
Well, not to say that the Netflix series are even remotely close to the movies, because they're two different ends of the spectrum.
they're in the same universe, but they never cross over.
Never in the
outside
same
of like
spectrum.
a sentence or two.
Yeah, because they're built differently.
Right.
They have a
And that's
different
all right.
tone.
I
They have a
really
different
wanted them
tone.
to cross over originally, but now I'm like, okay, that's fine.
I think
Keep
they
them
can
separate.
Yeah.
You could keep your street level Avengers, and we
Right.
can have the actual Avengers.
Yeah.
here.
But they completely changed. Ghost isn't a villain. Isn't really a villain. The whole reason she's trying to steal Hank Pym's thing is because she knows they're trying to get Janet, thank you.
yeah.
I couldn't think of her name. Janet out of the quantum realm,
Yeah.
and she's like, she has all this energy
Janet
that can
can't die.
save me, and that's the whole reason.
Yeah.
That's it. She's not actually a villain. Like maybe. I don't know. Maybe if it would have been better if like Hydra or Shield or something like that. I mean, Hydra doesn't exist anymore, and neither really does Shield. But whatever. If somebody had like contracted her to try to kill Janet,
Yes.
And
That-
if she was still working as like
right,
a
that would have been different because now you've got a villain that you look at and you go, "This is a villain who is trying to do the wrong thing."
Yeah.
Not a villain who's doing the wrong thing for the right reason.
Now, not to side shift to another villain in the story, but there is another villain in the story as well.
Oh, that sleazy.
The sleazy
Restaurant
slime
owner
boss.
person?
Yeah, the crime boss.
Yeah.
Who was technically a villain, a side villain, I should say.
Yeah.
But they didn't really hit the mark on him either.
No.
He was just there to make
He was
move
just
the plot
annoying.
move forward.
Yeah, exactly. He was
we
a
have
plot
to have
device.
we have to have a
Yeah.
plot chase, and we just got to move everything along.
Yeah.
Nothing great with him. I will say this though, my favorite part of the whole movie, and I really think he is one of the best characters in the entire MCU, is Luis.
Yeah.
The Latino guy who tells the stories.
Yeah.
I
Where's Scott?
absolutely love him, and he had another great storytelling scene in this
Yeah,
one.
great performance.
Oh,
I
incredible.
was really, really happy they gave him a scene like that. It's not as much as the first one, but
No, but they made his character even more in
Yes.
this one, which was great.
Yeah, he had like 3 or 4 scenes.
He
that
was
were really
hilarious
fun.
every time he's on scene. I loved
And
it.
even all the thieves guys, I thought they were hilarious when they were
Yeah.
on screen.
Yeah.
I didn't like them as much in the first one. I thought they were a little more annoying, but this one was like hilarious when he's trying to talk about like the money, and then they're talking about the breakfast sandwiches or whatever.
I love, and I'm going to put this out there.
Yeah.
I love the part where he's under the truth serum,
Yes. Yes.
and they're just sitting inside the shop, and he's like, "All right, man, tell me all about
Where's Scott?
Where is Scott? Well, I'm trying to tell you, Scott he was a bad place emotionally when I first met him.
No, not emotionally. I mean literally. Where is
No,
Scott?
he's in the woods. He was great in this movie. Every scene he's in.
I do think it was actually probably one of Marvel's funniest movies.
I agree.
I don't
because
think-
they hit on every joke.
Yeah.
And I don't think they tried too hard. I thought some of the Guardians movies, they tried too hard. I thought the first Ant-Man, they tried too hard to be funny
Right.
at sometimes. But this, were like, they wanted to be funny.
It was
I
funny.
laughed.
Yeah. And I think that was better. They went for quality instead of quantity in this one. Instead of just throwing a whole bunch at the wall and hoping something sticks, they put a dartboard up and got some darts
And I was
actually
also,
threw.
I didn't watch a lot of the promo videos, but I was also happy they didn't show a lot of the funniest moments in the trailer.
No, they didn't.
They showed like the one with Hope having the blast.
I actually disagree.
Yeah.
I think they showed a lot inside the trailers. The funny moments were a little sneak in there every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
But for the most part,
I didn't go watching all
all.
the promos. I only saw the 2 trailers.
No,
they
I
released.
try not to watch any. I try not to watch anything anymore either. All right, so let's move on to the first post-credit scene because the second one doesn't matter. The second one is just the ant, a big ant playing drums.
Yeah.
The only thing interesting about that is the TV has the warning thing. So this is after
Right.
Infinity War and everything that happened with this.
This movie takes place before Infinity War, possibly during the events of the battle, but before the snap. Okay, just we know for a fact it takes place before the snap.
Yes.
Because everybody's still there.
Yeah.
So that's why. With the post-credit scene, I'm gonna start saying kind of what is going on, and then you guys can interject
Go ahead
as you
and
want
go
to,
for
just
it.
so they get an idea. So they've